Hi, this is Naroki5. I am going to be doing this until I die or I find something better to do. So please help me achieve this personal and, I think, noble objective by contributing to my Patreon or Subscribestar. Link is down below. Every little bit helps. Thank you very much.
Okay, here we are. We're starting. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Red Pill Nation Hangout. We would have started a little bit earlier, but a V had to dum 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 dum. But he's back.
No privacy here, folks. No privacy at all, or standards for that matter.
Yeah, that's her second motto. Standard. What the hell are those? Probably the reason why it's probably going to be a while before I get any mainstream syndication. It's too bad. Well, I want to ask Angel about something because apparently, and this just came out on Redacted just a couple of hours ago, apparently there is now a fleet of Russian ships sailing around between Key Biscayne and Cuba.
I've heard something about that.
Yeah. This is likely in retaliation for, and this will probably, and this will be the group announcement. Next week's show, I will not be on because I am on vacation. So me and Rusin are going to discuss the topics. This will be added in as topic number 2. Apparently, American weapons were shot deep into Russia and hit targets that. And V just left. Okay. And hit targets that had absolutely nothing to do with the war in the Ukraine. So those rumors that we keep hearing about NATO and the Western powers being so desperate as to try and start a war with Russia to distract from the issues going on inside their own countries is actually looking like it's more and more true as we go along. But that will be for the next week's show, the one that I won't be on. Hopefully, good luck to Grierson for running it if he chooses to run it. But that is it. So, well, V just left because apparently he didn't answer the call of nature strongly enough the first time around. So maybe he'll be back. Jaffe and Angel might be joining us later, but right now it's just the two of us. So, Rierson, introduce yourself.
You and I. I assure you, folks, there are no homo points between Naroki and I. It is strictly a platonic friendship. Yeah, I don't really feel like being not terribly chatty, at least not during the introduction. So, chill away, my friend. Get the knee pads out and go from suck to blow.
Okay, just hold on a second. To commemorate just to commemorate the event that's just actually the two of us, I will break this in with this particular song. And of course, the internet's not working.
Of course.
See the crystal raindrops fall, and the beauty of it all when the sun comes shining through to make those rainbows in my mind when I think of you sometime, and I want to spend some time with you, just the two of us.
Oh, I'm starting to freak out.
We can make it if we try, just the two of us.
Oh, that's creepy. I mean, that is just fucking creepy.
That's when your favorite alien. That's the serenade song he sings to you just before he gets his sample.
Hey! I can neither confirm nor deny. I will.
All right. So, those of you who don't know, I'm actually at YouTube, but I don't. YouTube channel is just used specifically just so that I can upload there, and that it eases my issues with uploading everywhere else. I am at MGTOW TV, BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, Brighteon, and YouTube. I am also at Facebook. Mine's Gab, MeWe, and Getter at this point, although I haven't actually posted up at those sites for a while. If you have gone over to my video channels, you will have noticed that I have started loading up content other than mine. Reason why I do that is because people are because fuck Facebook, fuck YouTube for one, and also because people are so myopic that they just can't seem to see past YouTube at this point. So, yeah. Anything interesting that I find on YouTube, I transfer it over to the other video accounts so that people can enjoy them elsewhere. Hi, welcome aboard, Jaffe. Introduce yourself. Oh, look at that strong silent type tonight. Really?
Sorry about that.
How long have you been a woman? Just kidding.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Having some. I might have to get a new computer. Actually, new laptop here. Some button issues with. It's unresponsive all too often, unfortunately, when I'm clicking on the laptop. They wear out over time, do they? It looks like.
Well, I mean, you may just have to go get them clean. You may just have to go get the keyboard cleaned as well. That might also be an issue.
Or replaced? Is that possible?
Clean it first, then replace it. Always look at the Occam's razor. Look at the cheaper of the options first before you have to go and.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, I thought I was like somebody, like when the battery on the laptop I had was wasn't storing any power. I thought I was going to have to take the battery in to get it repaired. And it was like, they looked at me and said, well, no, don't worry about trying to get that battery repaired. We'll just give you a new one. So they just gave me a new one.
Yeah. And as always, folks, Occam's razor, the age-old maxim, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, it might just be the keyboard is dirty. It just needs to be cleaned. So, anyway, for those of you who don't know, I am also at Patreon as Roki5. Again, I haven't posted up there in a while. I'm going to have to get that up and running as well. The topic...
I'm sorry, May 2024. Did you guys receive the update? Just the two of you here on board with us this go around. So we've got your feature interview that we did with you just a couple weeks ago available and up for grabs. People can freely access it. And I didn't formally introduce myself either. As you asked, Jaffe Ryder, Chief Communications Officer of the Robin Hood flagship to the wider WPRPN.com network. Thanks. Sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
Yeah. I do remember that I was supposed to go on at some point. Hopefully it's not next weekend because I'm in Kelowna next weekend.
I'm sorry, what was supposed to go on?
Was I supposed to go on your show?
No. You. What I was saying, I tagged you actually on Facebook. I guess you haven't seen it yet, you and Steve. And then I might have sent it to you even through email. But the May 2024 archives are now in place. We ran a feature interview last month with you, as you may recall.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll have to take a look at that here. When I'm back in town.
And we want to do something with you and Mark as well, and maybe even have Steve on board too. But following up with the whole Picton business, that was utterly intriguing. What you're talking about.
Yeah, that Picton stuff was really interesting. Anyway, getting back to the issue. Yeah, there's a bunch of little things that I'm going to have to get caught up on here, and I will probably do it after I get back from vacation. So the topics for tonight is very interesting stuff. Hopefully Angel will be able to jump on board here just after 10 o'clock. Well, here's the thing, because this will probably be a topic for, FYI, like I said, I'm probably not, well, actually, I'm going to be on vacation. I'm going to be probably driving back from Kelowna on that day.
Sweet.
I'm going to be on vacation. So looking like it's just going to be Rearson's going to be the co-pilot, actually gets to be the pilot for a show. And I just found some information that apparently there is a fleet of Russian ships basically sailing around right now between Key West and Cuba.
We've just heard, well, yeah, you're picking that up through Skype here as well, is that right?
No, actually, I got that through redacted news.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Well, on top of that, the whole thing of China making some sort of move on India is what Steve was saying here. Another Steve via Skype.
They would be rather dumb because India has just recently replaced China as the most populous nation on earth. So China cannot engage in wars of attrition with India at this point.
Do you know how they work it? How things play out throughout the border region of the two countries?
Well, there's really only a couple places along the border. Like it would be up in northern India. There's really only a couple places that they can actually have a shooting war, and they're long, narrow passes apparently. So
what they typically do is they come at each other with sticks, and I'm not sure what else, but it's basically they have the rules of engagement are no firearms, just sticks. Sometimes I think they're even wrapped with barbed wire, though, is what I've heard. It's really quite something. So,
well, I mean,
they have lost their lives.
Guns wouldn't be and artillery wouldn't be such a good idea, with avalanche risks and so on and so forth. But anyway, the topics for tonight are as follows.
Mm-hmm.
Topic number 1, Alex Jones office targeted by feds, Infowars being sold off. 2, intelligence oversight, and this is what I'm going to let Rearson take the lead on. Intelligence oversight in Canada finds Liberal MPs colluding with foreign governments. I believe specifically China, if I'm not mistaken there, Rearson.
China.
Well, the liberals are being pretty tight-lipped on this one, so that's all I'm going to say for now.
Yeah, all right. Oh, hey, welcome back, V. How was the dump? V's back, folks.
Well, I feel a few pounds lighter.
That's the way it typically works. That's right. healthy bowel movement.
Maybe the waistline feels a bit smaller as well too for now.
All right.
On an unrelated topic, I've lost 25 pounds since I've been to Wisconsin.
Oh.
Yeah, that just happens from living in Wisconsin. People
nice.
Waste away unless their name is Jeremy Hambling, and they just somehow seem to keep getting bigger.
Is that the guy from the quartering?
He's quartering, yeah. Topic number 3, the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Top A, American weapons now being fired into Russia. War may be imminent. There's going to be a lot to talk about there. B, war escalation happening. We may throw in that thing with the Russian fleet off the coast of Florida. C, and this is one that's not being covered by the press. Actually, a lot of this is not being covered by the press. There's draft talk being discussed in both Congress and the Senate at this point. Yeah, very intriguing stuff. Topic number 4, as expected, The Acolyte is tanking. Creators blame fans, actors are being stupid. Oh my God, man. I'll try not to take forever on that one, but I may have to. Topic number 5, the Alphabet Mafia. Southern Poverty Law Centers as Gays Against Groomers, which is a gay group, by the way, onto the list of anti LGTB groups, aka a hate group. So a gay group is a hate group against gays. Just let that sink in. B, support for Pride is noticeably down. That is actually very true. Topic number 6, and Bruce and I had a very long discussion about this one yesterday. Long, about 15-20 minutes. Truth finally revealed with the Nashville shooter as more leaks around the manifesto occur, and the leaks kind of explain why they held it, and it's not the reason that a lot of people thought it was. And topic number 7, Dr. Fauci roasted in the Senate. So
let's get a move on, I guess, if only because I will have no more than an hour to spend with you. So
okay.
Sorry to have to.
All right. So all right. So let's get this started. All right. Let me just do the timestamp here. Now, the first topic is one that kind of really, I mean, I was under the impression that Alex Jones had worked out some sort of a deal with the parents that sued him, and apparently the lawyers managed to convince Alex Jones, the people that sued Alex Jones, not to take the offer. And what they are now in the process of doing is they're going after all of even stuff that isn't necessarily under Alex Jones's name. That's under the corporation's name, like Infowars. Like Alex Jones is having this on Infowars. At one point, Alex Jones was actually sleeping in the office of Infowars because he didn't want to take. That's where I made the mistake of thinking that the feds were about to raid the place, and that's not what happened. He was staying in the offices to make sure that court officials couldn't just walk in and take the place and shut it down completely, because it's very, very clear. And hopefully Trump, if he wins, is able to intervene on his behalf, because this is a very clear, I mean, I'm going to put Alex Jones on the same level as Andrew Tate and Donald Trump and a few other. There's this desperate desire to have these guys either in jail or silenced, and the amount of effort that they're taking to do that is out of proportion to their actual impact. See, getting Alex Jones shutting down Infowars and so on and so forth might have been a substantial impact 5 or 6 years ago. Now there are so many other alt networks. Hi, Angel, that have joined up. That I just hold on a second, Angel. I want to let me just finish this. We'll finish this topic off. I definitely got to ask some. I will definitely want to get your opinion on topic number 3. So yeah, it won't really, all you're going to do by jailing Alex Jones is turn him into a martyr, just like, say, if you tried to kill or throw Andrew Tate in jail or do the same thing to Donald Trump, all you would be doing is turning them into martyrs. And, trying to explain that to deluded leftists or deluded globalists who seem to think that taking out a specific individual is going to somehow make the problem go away. It's not. Removing Alex Jones had been effectively removed from the scene anyway, for the most part. I mean, he wasn't on Twitter for the longest time. He's still not back up on Facebook. He's still not back up on YouTube. So Alex Jones has been de facto silenced for a while, and it really hasn't stopped him. So attempting to shut Alex Jones down isn't going to get them the results that they desire. But I mean, it's like, to quote Kelso, you're applying logic to people who obviously don't use logic, and they want him shut down just because. And they're obviously not aware that it's not going to have the effect that they're looking for, but they want to do it anyway. So with that, we will go Jaffe, Angel, V, and then Rearson. So Jaffe, you're up.
All right. Thank you very much, Naroki. Taking out Donald Trump, any assassination whatsoever, in fact, and I think I was just listening into Angel's show a few minutes ago before dropping in here while multitasking, and Robert Morningstar dropped in to join him, and happened to hit on this whole issue of political assassination. The fact that he even, as a Trump supporter, praised quite genuinely and sincerely for the likes of Obama and Biden. The reason being because of the implications, the unnecessary conflict and chaos that would ensue from having these key pivotal, very high profile figures silenced for good. All that they, with them leaving behind, being the imprint that they've made on people they've been able to reach throughout the course of their careers, whether politics, social media, or what have you. So, but with Jones himself, yeah, it's going to be interesting. And the whole thing is so ridiculously overblown. They've made it very clear they wanted to make an example of him to others. And it's so, it's lawfare at once again, at its finest, the way that America now so overwrought. Although the country itself does seem to be, pretty much, when it comes to legal suits, suing people for pretty much everything under the sun. There's plenty of ambulance chasers out there who will be willing to step up and try to make a few fast bucks for both themselves and their clients. I guess the last thing that I will say regarding this whole matter is how, and it does in some ways relate to the whole Trump business, with Jones himself, his lawyers just accidentally, I guess, as it was, released all of his private text messages. Is that right? Emails and so forth. So that they were handed over to the prosecution, for their, so that they were able then to make the most of that, seize upon whatever they could find in these text messages and emails and so forth. And that just, it seems very, very suspicious, obviously. And in some ways, even, I've only heard it via one commentator in the last, over the course of the whole ordeal with Trump's most recent case. And it's just it's so obvious the way he's being targeted, that, this guy, the former president, with everything you can imagine, clearly everything under the sun. They're just coming at him left. Well, I wouldn't say right and center, it's mostly left. Unfortunately, so politicized, so obviously overdone and ridiculous. But same sort of deal, apparently, where the theory has been raised that his defense team almost threw him under the bus, perhaps. So that's all I'm going to say. Maybe I don't know if Angel's got any thoughts on that, or anyone else who's been following things, but I don't know. Have they done enough? Have the defense teams done enough? We all know how lawyers are, but in representing their clients, Jones and then the former president, there's a reason you look at the terms lawyers and liars, and the two, where they roll off the tongue, not too really separate or distinct from one another. So, and that's about it for me. Who was next in line? Is it Angel?
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback directly off that because, look, let's also include television, which really stands for televised to your vision. So when you watch things like CNN and all these reports, remember Nancy Pelosi told us what they do. It's called the wrap-up smear. They feed you the same lines over and over and over and over and over. So the common folk that is, going through their lives, they're just enjoying, taking their kids to sports, going to work, going through the everyday rigors of life. They don't know how to do a lot of this research. So what they watch on their news, they, granted they think is a legit outlet, they might not be aware that they're being lied to and bombarded with lies. And when you watch clips of all these different places going over and over and over about not just Trump, but this Alex Jones thing, for years he's been completely thrown under the bus for many different things that he said, which at the time were geared to be controversial, right? Like the frogs that were turning, transgender or gay or changing their sex. I mean, he used a lot of colorful language, and they smeared him for that, said he was a crazy cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? Turns out a couple of years later, there's a report that actually he was telling the truth. A lot of times, what has happened with Alex Jones is, since the left hates him because he's been spilling the beans and telling the truth about a lot of things that they don't want us to know about because it doesn't fit that narrative, they turn him into like a beast in the media, this evil entity. And in reality, Alex Jones has spilled a lot of things that we should know about. And that's why they're doing this to him. In fact, the whole reason that he owes close to $1 billion has to do with the school shooting. And the school shooting had two known, okay, let me get this straight for everybody. These are known crisis actors who participated in a crisis event that the school needed them to participate in. Now, I'm not a conspiracy nutcase. You could actually look these two students up. Ironically, one of them, the guy, had been involved in other things in other states as a crisis actor also. Turns out they both actually went to the school, okay? I confirmed that because I knew a teacher at this school that has been going at Alex Jones. He was a substitute, and he confirmed, yeah, there's students there, but it's also been confirmed they're actors, crisis actors. And so what the media did, they, called him immediately. They brought him in. They did their thing. Alex Jones reported that, and next thing you know, he's the bad guy for reporting accurate information. And this is what they do when they dislike somebody. They completely make him the bad guy, when in reality, he's just telling it the way it is. And Alex Jones has been going through that for a long time. God bless him, really, for sticking it out as long as he has, and being a word for us in the internet who needed that. But they're doing it to him to platform his entire operation. Infowars, the entire thing. They want to take everything down. They locked him out of his own offices. This is a complete miscarriage of justice for a man who really is using his freedom of speech, his journalistic, take on things. Really, that's what we're doing now. We're locking people for freedom of speech, right? They're taking him to court. Why? Because he said something that he believes in his heart to be true. That's called freedom of speech. So when the conservative side does it, they go to jail. When the liberals lie to your face, nothing happens. CNN, remember they lied about the Russia. The laptop didn't exist. Now the FBI has admitted in court in the Hunter Biden gun case. Yeah, we lied about that. The laptop was real, meaning everything in there is real, including child pornography, crack use, the Hunter Biden emails, which we all have been hearing in Congress for a long time about with Bobulinski and all these guys. All that stuff is real. But yet the media still says, yeah, it's all a bunch of Russia lies. How dare you insult the intelligence of the American people and the world by continuing to lie to us like we're babies, like we're going to keep falling for it. They believe we're sheeple. They think we're idiots. And that's the one thing that, God bless his soul, Art Bell warned us about years ago when he said, and he said it very clearly, when the stuff starts hitting the fan, the veil's going to start dropping more rapidly. And right now, the veil's dropping very rapid. I am happy that as a society, we're opening our eyes to a lot of these things. And I think the COVID, which I talked about on the show, and by the way, I talked about this Alex Jones thing early on in my show tonight. COVID, the entire thing, the lockdowns, was beneficial because it had us stay home, open our eyes to a lot of the things that we might have been aware of during the lockdowns, including schools and the way they're treating our kids at schools, this drag queen reading to kids. I mean, this whole thing is a disaster. And it just so happens that it happens under Biden, Obama, and all this stuff is, blamed on Trump. Oh, he's the bad guy, the causer of all evil, even though he only spent 4 years as a president. By the way, persecuted from day one by the left, 5 times impeached, twice it went through to the very end where nothing happened, and that was thanks to Nancy Pelosi taking it to the very end. She likes it in the end, I hear. But with all that said, and I'm nearing the end myself here, this has been orchestrated to, again, overthrow another election. We're just going through another cycle. Now we're not seeing as many riots in the streets because, again, the veil is dropping. And I'm happy to see that as a society, people are opening their eyes. This is why Trump is doing record numbers with black and Latinos, because even those folks that have been mind warped for decades to vote blue no matter what are starting to say, you know what? They only do things for us when it's voting season, but the rest of the time they don't give a crap. And when they're seeing the streets overran by illegals who are making more money than the veterans who are living on the streets. And that's given to them by Biden using our taxpayer money. When they see the wars being flooded across the earth and we're paying for it with our taxes, people are starting to see that. That's part of the veil dropping, and people are starting to open their eyes. That's why you see people now saying, wait a second, how many billions are we giving Ukraine? And they wouldn't give Trump $2 or $3 billion to build a wall to keep us safe, but they're giving $150 billion to feed a war and build other walls in other countries. Folks, if you're stupid enough to keep voting for this, God bless your soul. There's a special place in hell for you, or a padded room somewhere with a straitjacket. With that said, whoever's next, please take over. I'm done.
So how can they be God blessed and have a place in hell?
Well, God bless them, but they're gonna burn anyway. So hey, God bless their soul. I'm not their judge, jury, and executioner. I cannot be like the one that says you're guilty. But when they go and they're denied entrance into the pearly gates, or whatever that may be, and then the devil's like, "Oh yeah, you're on my list. Come on down, baby. You're part of the party." That's up to them. God bless them, but they're gonna burn. And you know what? Maybe that's what they want. Maybe this is part of the agenda, because when you think about it, why would the devil be bad to bad people? That's their people, right? That's his people. I mean, I'm sure when they walk into hell, they might be like, hey, you know what? You caused a genocide. Just for you, there's a hooker with a lot of cocaine on her titties. Go have some fun there, Joe Biden. Yeah. Hunter Biden, look, a room full of crack. Have at it, son. Huh? Hookers and crack for you, Hunter. That might be their future. Down in hell.
Hookers and crack?
We don't know. Sounds fun, right?
Dude, hookers and crack, that's a phenomenal time.
I've never smoked cracks, and I've never banged a hooker, so I can't really relate. But hey, if you say it, I believe it.
So my to-do list. Anyhow,
go on, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Wow. I mean, this explains why. See, now I have context because I had a meeting supposed to have a business meeting with Alex Jones, and yeah, that's on an indefinite reschedule.
I imagine why.
Yeah. So yeah, I it was weird. It's like, okay, not that I could have been down in Austin on time, anyways, but wow. Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna keep hammering this guy, I mean, yeah, it's like what you guys said. They want to make an example out of him, and I mean, to be honest with you, if I were Alex Jones, I would have sold everything. I mean, his media empire, not worth exactly $1 billion, but he could have sold everything, filed for Chapter 11, and then restarted. Trying to hang on to the same IP is just, especially when you have a lawsuit that you've lost, and there's no point to that. He should have sold everything and then started over. You know, info conflict, info skirmishes. He could have. He could have done anything.
I like that one.
You know, he could have done anything, and I don't know who he's got in his corner, but somebody should advise him on business and how it works. Gee whiz. However, you know, if I were him, I'd fight back. I'd do some counterclaims, some countersuits, saying that his First Amendment was violated, because it was. He's under no legal obligation to say that Sandy Hook was not an inside job. Okay? I don't see how he lost, to be honest with you. If I were in that courtroom, I would be like, the First and Fifth. That's all they would have got out of me. I would not have felt the need to explain myself or anything. Simple. First Amendment. He didn't fraud anybody. He didn't steal from anybody. He didn't injure anybody. He didn't kill anybody. So his First Amendment, I mean, he didn't incite any kind of riots. He did none of that stuff. As powerful as he was with his speech, he could have done something. You know, he could, if he was at the White House on January 6th, he could have rallied and tore that building apart. He had that power. But now, since he gave in to the man, like he always said he wouldn't, he gave in, he cried and apologized. No. If I was up in that witness stand, they start asking me questions, I would have just put my genitals right on the ledge there. And say, have a taste. Because I'm not backing down. I mean, still could have lost, but he still could have held on to his position instead of being made to look like a complete and utter biatch and still losing. to be honest with you, I don't even know why or how he still has an audience. After that, I mean, I don't want to say I lost respect for him, but I definitely look at him differently now. I mean, for somebody that hates the New World Order so much, and the globalist, you would think.
Don't forget the Chi-Coms.
Fight in
The
him.
Chi-Coms.
Yeah, you would think, but you think he had more fight in him, and I just, talk and talk, but can't walk the walk, unfortunately. But it's, and I think it's because he didn't fight the first time. They're going to keep hammering him. They took him for a biatch. So they're gonna keep messing with him, and messing with him till he disappears or kills himself. He opened up the floodgates by not defending himself. So here he is. I hope he makes it through and does come back and build something revolutionary. That'd be great. I'm not gonna put my money on that bet. So that, you want to take it from the rear, Pearson?
Oh, hold on. It was those goddamn gay frogs armed with blue chew and alien space lasers.
You know, there's only
too many of the frogs gay.
Right. It's only recently, though, that he actually started more as far as the discourse and the guests that he would have on a show, conversation regarding Israel's role within all of this. Whereas for the longest time, it was they were sidelined. There was no, mention hardly at all of Israel. So, and in the last few months, I think maybe he saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah, who knows?
But that is definitely something worth taking note of.
Okay, all right, Rearson, let's take this topic out.
I'll state right off the bat that I worship the ground that the guy walked on. That
really?
Was, yeah, that was
2018.
And then something happened, and I just progressively lost interest in the guy. I know that he had gone into the whole Pizzagate thing, and then he called it off as being a hoax. So it's like, what? And up until, well, I don't know how recently, but he was always pro-Israel. He was also married to a woman who was Jewish with his previous divorce. I know that within the Anon community, by the agency, whatever you want to call it, Department of Q with the drops, Jones was outed as being a traitor. So I don't know. I really don't know what to think of this guy. To be honest with you, I'm just going to be happy sitting on the sidelines and let this one work its way out, however that's going to go. I really don't have an opinion on him, but I suppose at the end of the day that if they can take him out, they can take anybody out. So, and maybe that's, I don't know. For all I know, he might be. I don't fucking know. I don't know. I'm not going to say anymore. Just, I'll let this. I'll be happy to sit on the sidelines and just take some interest in it, but I'm not getting too deep into this one anymore. So, Rookie, I am done.
Okay, well, you're up on the next one anyway, so...
Can we follow up? Just a brief summary, recap final thoughts? This is kind of important. Briefly.
It's gay frogs with blue chew, and space aliens.
Well, actually, no. He made Naroki, or rather, Rierson made a great point. It's similar to with the way that everything is being, how Trump is being targeted. That if they can do it to him, they can do it to anyone, and that's why I think so many people from various quarters, very kind of widespread populist support now, grassroots groundswell, and also Silicon Valley too, the deep pockets that last election and even back in 2016 maybe weren't in his corner are rallying to his side because of for this very reason. So there's something a little more I was going to add to that, but I think people get the picture. It should be evident and obvious enough that we need to stand up, we need to fight, we need to push back, and we need to expose the corruption. Because look, legal systems do not, as far as justice is a precious and all too rare commodity within any so-called legal system. So we got to be careful the way that we reference things, and they've both been targeted, and hopefully over the long term each will be treated in a more a truly just and, dare I say, equitable manner. So because they deserve it. It's too heavy-handed and ridiculously extreme and over the top. It's pretty sad. And did somebody mention Banana Republic? I think Angel did when he was on the show that I was tuning in and listening to. Just hard to join us here. So
that's exactly what they're doing, Jaffe. They're turning our legal system into a weaponized Banana Republic, and this country is being led the same way Venezuela, Cuba, Germany. If you want to go that far back, people say, "How is that possible?" That was Hitler. Yeah, but they're all playing off the same playbook, Karl Marx's playbook. They're all Marxist. That doesn't have a color, gender, or any nationality. That's an ideology, and it can be adapted by anybody. And that's exactly what we're seeing when they talk about fascists and they label Trump all these different labels. A lot of these people don't even know what they're talking about. They're just speaking out of their ass. And unfortunately, they're doing it to Alex Jones. They're doing it to Trump. They're doing it to anybody who doesn't follow that narrative.
There you go. Back to you, Naroki. Thanks for allowing the time to kind of follow things up, a little bit of a wrap up there at the end.
Okay,
the
we
wrap
have to. All right,
Cap
hold on a second. So let's move on, because Rierson is taking the lead on this next one, and I'm actually going last. The Canadian Intelligence Oversight Committee found some very curious collusion with several liberal MPs, and I believe the Chinese government, although I haven't really looked at it too hard, although Rierson's looked at it some more. So I will let Rierson take the lead on this one. So Rierson, you're up first. I'm going last on this one.
Any day now.
All right. Thank you.
There we go. All right.
Shut up.
Good man.
Shut up.
Good man.
Anyway. Okay. So there was basically the equivalent of Intelligence Committee has received a report on questionable activities of MPs, some MPs, that are, quote, colluding or working with hostile foreign countries. Now, those of you that are not following politics up in Canada at this point right now, the Trudeau government has a coalition going on with the NDP, basically two left political parties. And That's been going on now since the 2019 election. Dominic LeBlanc, he's the Minister of Public Safety, I think. I could be wrong. He is being very, very tight-lipped on the whole matter. We have all that's been released for information is that there are some MPs, as I said, that are working with hostile foreign governments. We have no idea who the governments are. Most likely, the two most likely culprits are going to be China and probably India. But it could very well be, I don't know, Israel. It could be Americans who no one is saying a goddamn fucking word at this point, which I can understand. Now, what I can say is that there is no, well, I would bet everything that I've got that there are no conservative MPs, or shall we say Republicans, that are on that list, because if there were, sure as shit stinks, I can pretty much guarantee you their names, any person that was colluding, that those names would have been released already, which has not happened. Now, during question period, which I don't really know, I guess it's kind of like, no, it's not even committees. You don't really have anything like that with the U.S. legislature. At the federal level, I don't know about maybe the state, but we have what's called question period, and that's where opposition MPs will be fielding questions or remarks directed at the ruling party, and it's just a lot of fucking banter. I can't really say it any other way. So, but LeBlanc has gone on record to say that Pierre Poilievre, the official opposition leader, could take the time to get the clearance to take a look at it, but he can't say a fucking thing about it. So, again, there's nothing. They're hiding behind the shield of it being someone's reputation could be at risk, or lives could be destroyed, or whatever. But my opinion will be, simply put, if there is, if in that report it's more or less irrefutable, then lives will be destroyed because they decided to play for opposing teams rather than to be doing what they're supposed to, which I expect of any member of government. Elected officials are supposed to look out for the interest of their constituents first, and then to look out for the interest of their country that they are representing second. This goes across party lines. Now, the parties I may not agree with, but then again, I mean, Klaus Schwab has been on record to say that he has penetrated the Trudeau government. So that already puts, in my opinion, the legitimacy of the Trudeau government under a lot of, well, it's being incredibly questionable, to say the least. So that's what's going on for now. So it seems to be, for me, and I did take the time to email my MP to basically say my opinion of all of this is that this is treason. And I'll have to take a look at what the outcome is if you are tried as being a traitor. But there's treason and then there's high treason. So I think that this is treason for now. But if state secrets were given away, then that likely could be high treason. So we'll see. So I'll leave it at that for now. So, Jaffe, up to you. When you're ready, that is.
Jaffe?
Jaffe, if you're hearing us, you're muted. Okay. Angel, do you want to go next? And then we'll get Jaffe back in.
No, I'm actually,
You'll stay on the sidelines on this one?
yeah, I'm not too,
Fair enough.
informed on this one. So I do want to get either Jaffe or V to go next, and if anything hits me, I'll go last on this one.
Okay. V, if you want to jump in, by all means.
Remember, I'm not Canadian, so
I know. And that'll probably be what V's going to say next as well. Nothing personal.
Yeah. V, what do you say?
Go ahead.
Well, what government isn't colluding with other governments? There is a global economy and international foreign policies. So I'm not quite sure what the context is to this collusion. You'd have to give me more detail on that for me to form a educated opinion.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the problem. That's the problem, is that, as I said, the ruling Liberal Party is keeping very tight. Oh, this was apparently brought to Trudeau's attention back in March, and he's done nothing about it. There was a gentleman before, Min Doan or something like that, where China was actively interfering in the election process to get him elected, and that has gone to committee. And again, from what I can see, Trudeau knew all about that, but kept it swept under the rug until that rug got pulled out. So I can't say, as much as I want to, that this is a clear-cut case of China interfering, because this is only 2 data points. And everything that we want to know, as I said, is being kept under wraps under top secret clearance, which cannot be disclosed to the public, at least not yet. Now that I think about it, I know that CSIS, which is Canada's spy agency, they have leaked documents that were very sensitive. Oh yeah, no, and that was about the Doan case anyway, where China interfered. So if they don't, I wouldn't be surprised that if things don't start to move and this gets addressed and then the public needs to know more about it, I won't be surprised that there'll be another leak about this. So we'll see. But I'm hoping that this will turn into a vote of non-confidence to get Trudeau kicked out, which would be great. So fingers crossed. Okay, let's get back here. Excuse me.
You know, let me piggyback off of that real quick, because and I'll make it quick.
Yeah.
I guess this will be my time, because it kind of hit me when V mentioned the colluding. Well, yeah, there's always collusion within all governments, and this has been happening since before government. You know, even back hundreds of years ago, they all colluded within the power structures. I mean, this is nothing new to the earth. The thing is, now we're becoming more and more aware as a society, and we're in a place where before we couldn't, fight back because we didn't know all the information. Now we're gathering more and more information, and it's shows like ours that feeds the information to the people that want to know what's going on, who might not have the ability to get this from their news source. So we're starting to see the dots connecting when it comes to the collusion that's been going on for a long time. And this is something that Art Bell was talking about. I've talked about this on my show in the past many times, where this is a global structure that's been around for longer than any of us here have been. They're going to be around after we leave the earth. And the sad reality is they shape the narrative. The only way to properly escape this matrix of evil is by understanding the problem and tackling it head on. The unfortunate part, again, is Look what happened to Alex Jones. Look how the platform and destroy every one of us. It's a shame. It's a scam. It's terrible. And I wanted to get Jaffe's take on this. So if he's ready, please, jump in because this is a very interesting topic. And you're way away from America right now. You're in another country. So I want to hear your side on the topic here about global collusion because I know it's a hot one. I don't know too much about the Canadian politics, but I can tell you about the American part of it, and I can tell you about the other areas like Cuba, Venezuela, and those parts of how they've been colluding for many, many decades. But Jaffe, are you ready? Are you on? Are you with us? Did somebody make Jaffe walk the plank?
If it happened, I assure you, I had nothing to do with it. So
I think he got offended and like somebody like said something and they made him walk the plank.
he did have
Chris,
some.
did you give him
Am I
your
being
spare
summoned?
suit?
Oh, we can
Am I
hear you
being,
now.
am I being
Oh.
summoned? I heard my name. Look, man, I was off in the other room. I put the show on speaker here, taking the headphones off, shaving up, getting ready for work, making sure everything's in order, talking about Canada security, foreign interference in elections. My money's on China, okay? Money's on China. Hostile foreign entity. Well, yeah, maybe hostile, but it's one of the biggest business partners that Canada has long had, and that's all starting, of course. You know, who was, here's a little trivia for people, quick trivia question before I head out. Who was the first foreign head of state to visit China on, a diplomatic
I know.
mission
That
back, and kind of establishing diplomatic ties following the communist revolution, the first Western head of state to do so.
That would have been Pierre Elliott Trudeau.
There we go. I think I've put this forward in the past, so Steve, you have a pretty good memory. That's right. So look, Trudeau or Castro Jr., if you will, I prefer Castro. The big red machine, the big red liberal machine, and it's red for a reason. And he's continuing in the family tradition. He has an agenda to pursue and to implement, and to hell with what anyone else thinks. You can find these people, as we all know, those continue to double down and to drive, as with Zelensky, Biden, Trudeau, and you find it elsewhere too, where you have the heads of government leaders, essentially, although really the king is the head of state in Canada via the Speaker of the House is how that operates from a theoretical basis, interestingly. And all Canadians still remaining subjects to His Majesty on paper, at least. But my money's on China. Israel, I mean, look, they've all had a hand. The Saudis, it's just obscene. It's gross. It's disgusting. And we are never going to hear hardly even a fraction of the truth through institutions and outlets, including not only, obviously, the houses of parliament, but also establishment media. Give me a break. That's why we're the fifth estate. And the truth always bubbles up from where we are and our vantage point, the digital underground here in the meta-modern age, of course. So let's keep at it, mateys. Stay the course and do all we can to get the job done. I got to sail on out of here. It's been a pleasure. WPRPN.com. Happy sailing.
Walk that plank.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Jeffy. Yeah. We don't know exactly who's colluding because, to absolutely nobody's surprise, the Trudeau government is interfering and not releasing the necessary documentation so that nobody can do a proper investigation. I just have to say that I am totally surprised at this. Not. We will figure this out again, right? The best explanation for where Canada is going is from Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson is going to say, yeah, barring some sort of imminent collapse by the Conservatives, Trudeau is going to be voted out and it's going to be an overwhelming majority for the Conservatives in the next election. And that's when we really find out, because there's stuff that we know about and there's stuff that we don't know about when it comes to the Liberals. And it's going to take Poilievre, assuming Poilievre does. I mean, I'm hoping that Poilievre has enough brains to realize that it cannot be politics as usual. But I mean, I've got very limited faith in Poilievre. Maybe Poilievre is smart enough to figure out that it can't be politics as usual and does make the effort to actually fix everything that Trudeau screwed up. And Trudeau, Justin, that is, messed up a lot. I mean, to the point where you have to wonder whether he was actually trying to burn the house down simply because so that nobody else could have it. You have to look at that as a possibility with Justin. Yeah, but it's going to require most of the first term for the Poilievre to fix things. Hopefully, he's smart enough to do it, but who knows? Yeah, more will be revealed on this one. Not surprised. There was an article that we covered. There's a story we covered earlier this year, specifically about a Liberal MP getting elected in Vancouver. So this is probably just a continuation of that. And with that, I'm going to move on to the next topic here. And this one is kind of frightening. Now, there has been one of the places that I follow rather closely online is Redacted, because Redacted reports the stuff that a lot of, including international stuff that is going on that does not get reported, and there's a lot of stuff that is not being reported by the mainstream news. First of all, Biden has cleared the Ukraine to start firing American weapons into Russian territory, which they did. The curious thing, though, is that they didn't actually target stations and so forth around the Russia-Ukraine border. They fired these missiles at radar stations that were part of Russia's anti-missile line of defense, aka stuff that was not even involved in the conflict, which is effectively an act of war. The net result of that is, and this is why I would like Angel to go second on this, is that just recently, and again, this is not being reported in the news, at least not in the mainstream news anyway, to a great extent, is that the Russians have sent a fleet of ships, for the first time since the Cuban Missile Crisis, by the way, to Cuba. And apparently, if you're in places like, say, Key West or even, say, South Florida, if you have binoculars and you look out into the ocean, you can apparently see the Russian fleet doing maneuvers off the coast of Florida. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not, and that's definitely Angel's territory. So maybe the local media has been covering it, or maybe even Angel has been speaking to locals that have said they've seen it. But yeah, I'm going to let Angel go second on this next one. The other talk is, and again, this is one that has not been reported very much in the mainstream media, is the fact that it's a well-known fact that the U.S. armed forces have not been meeting their recruitment goals, aka they don't have enough troops to fill the necessary positions in the U.S. Armed Forces. Now, one of the things that has been floating around is that some of these some of these immigrants, that illegals who happen to be of military age, are being brought in to fill those slots. But among the other things that is happening is that for the first time, well, I mean, this is not the first time. I remember they were talking about this way back when, during the Bush Jr. era, when they were talking about the occupation of Iraq. They were talking about possibly bringing the draft in at that point as well. But again, draft talk is starting. So what you're getting are, and Putin, by the way, is now gone on the record as pretty much declaring the United States as a hostile power at this point. So the rumors that you heard floating around that, and also, by the way, Britain, and we covered this a couple of weeks ago, Britain, France, and Germany have stepped up recruitment efforts. Haven't heard of anything in Canada yet, but it's probably coming. So hold on a second. So I don't know what is what's happening here, but would the Biden administration or would the globalists be so desperate as to hang on to power? Because there's basically three ways that we were going to try to stop Trump. One was lawfare, which is not working. Two is assassination, except of course that assassination would only make Trump a martyr. And three is to manufacture an incident which would cause a war. Now, again, redacted, and I can't remember the name of the other source that is on it. Apparently, there have been some intelligence leaks that there are foreign agents because of what happened with that attack on the music hall in Moscow. There are now foreign agents in the United States planning a similar kind of attack on U.S. soil, which would absolutely kick off a war. Would they do such a thing to maintain power and to basically suspend the election? Absolutely, yes, they would. And the reason why they would is because currently, as it stands, Trump is, except maybe for Wisconsin, Trump is leading in every swing state. And thanks to the kangaroo court conviction he had 2 weeks ago, support for him has only gone up, not down. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Angel, who can go second on this one. And Angel, I specifically want to know what you know about the stories about that Russian fleet that is basically supposedly off the coast of Florida or between Florida and Cuba. So go ahead.
Not only is Trump's support growing, Naroki, if you didn't hear, the case itself that he was convicted on ghost charges might be dropped in as soon as the next 48 hours because of a Facebook posting by a member of the juror's family member that might cause the entire thing to go away. A trial that should have never happened. We're looking at a weaponization of our government by the White House, and they're doing it because, again, this is a complete scam. It's a sham. It's been that from the beginning. They are doing this to cause massive wars. I do think that we're going to see some conflict within our United States before the election. This might lead to some kind of a staged, proxy, almost civil war conflict, where they might be able to pull some, some strategy and say, yeah, you know what, we're suspending the election and martial law is coming, and then we're all screwed right in this country. Now, I don't put that off as being far-fetched. I'm not a conspiracy junkie. I'm not a QAnon supporter, or I don't follow that. I'm an independent voter. But I do think that I've seen enough where I do believe that the left is willing to do anything here in America to keep power. And look, what they've done to ex-President Trump and if everything goes fairly, next president of the United States, Donald Trump, is a horrible situation. But my biggest fear is that he might be not only used as a political martyr, as they're trying to do and failing at, but they actually might kill this man before even November happens. And it might be in some kind of a staged event, again, with this possible uh, proxy war that hits our streets and hits our country. And remember that movie, guys, Red Dawn from the 80s that got remade a few years later?
Yeah,
Um,
Patrick Swayze and I believe Charlie Sheen was in it.
the
and the girl-
original, right?
yeah, and the girl from Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, she was hot back then. Now, when they remade that movie, they had to go back and change the enemies because it couldn't be the same bad guys. So we had to adhere to, like, what they told us. We couldn't use the Chinese because the Chinese got offended, so we couldn't use them. So we had to like make it somebody else. The point is, there were, and even in our Hollywood entertainment, they're bowing down to their masters, and that's what's going on here. There's global mastery going on, and we're all just on for the ride. And the saddest part is, yes, they're weaponizing, the structure of the country. And I'm talking about the weaponization of the government, the weaponization of military, the weaponization of the news media, the education media. Everything is geared to a global totalitarian takeover of the United States and destroy as we know it. And again, unless we do something about it, we're all going to just be sheeple to the slaughter. And unfortunately, when you try to do something about it, you end up in prison because that's what they do to those who speak up now. That's the America we're in, folks. Who's next?
That would be V.
V, hit him up. Maybe not. V?
No, I
Oh,
don't
there you
think. I don't think. I mean, just going down to the latter part of the topic here, I don't think there'll be a draft. It's just, I no. I'm willing to bet money, actually, that there will not be a draft. Why? Because that would be counterproductive. The whole reason for the 9/11 inside job was to basically have all the patriotic Americans say, hey, yeah, I want to go fight and die in this war. Because they don't know any better, right?
But they've had a draft before, V, and they were still patriotic Americans back then. Remember?
Well, most of the Vietnam guys that I knew were drafted, and they didn't want to go.
That's not the point. It still happened. That's not the point.
It happened.
Nobody wants to go to war.
It,
Nobody wants to go there.
There's a lot of people who did not support the war. Tons of people. The CIA actually blames the loss of the war on the morale of the troops and the protests that were going on. So, so the whole point of the 9/11, like I said, was to grab all those patriotic Americans. They didn't have to go through a draft. They were fired up, right? So what happens when you have all the patriotic people in the military? Well, there's a chance they might die, right? So that's less of a person, one less person who's patriotic. These patriotic people would potentially fight against the government if it becomes corrupt. So they need to get rid of the patriotic people. And that's what left us with the cowards that would rather join the the police force instead. That's why our police are corrupt, and our army's already swollen. Okay, but they need to get rid of as many patriotic people as possible. So the rest of us who stay behind have to deal with the corruption. It's by design. Especially with all, and it's all for a reason. I mean, who has had their account silenced or banned just because they spoke out against the Ukraine war on Facebook? I could say tons. I know lots of people. So keeping perception that, oh, Ukraine's an ally, when they're not really. I don't think they've ever helped us in any war. It's just, it's a mess. It's foobarred. People need to start speaking against the war in Ukraine. I think in mass, what would a mass protest be like if just people who has control over it would just stop paying taxes? You know, strippers, prostitutes, you know, anybody gets paid on the table. You know, they should just stop paying taxes. Stop supporting terrorism. Yes, a government can be terrorists. We have a terrorist regime, whether anybody knows it or not. CIA, bunch of freaking terrorists. Okay? Although, I found it to be funny that Biden wants to send the head of the CIA over to the Middle East to try to broker peace. That's a new one to me. But I don't know. I think it's a Mossad trick. But anyways, not to go into that area. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't see it happening. They're gonna keep spouting patriotism, and then the patriotic Americans who support Ukraine join up. The economy is so bad. There's so few jobs. People will go into. I mean, they don't have to have a draft. Hell, the reason why I joined the Army was for those reasons. Okay? Economy was screwed. I couldn't find a job. My mom was my parents split up, so I had to support my mother. So I didn't really have that much of a choice. So yeah, I don't think there's necessity for a draft, but I could be wrong. Time will tell. And with that, I'll lead to the next person.
That'd be Rearson. Go ahead, Rearson.
Yeah, now that I'm ready this time. I'm not particularly worried about this. I apologize for having faith in the plan, shall we say.
It's all part of the plan.
I do admit being in the weeds in terms of being an anon, but that's me. To each their own. That's not to say that things aren't going to get, that things are not going to be looking very dire, very grim, and be a lot of doom and gloom. If things go in that direction, I'm of the opinion that this is like what's happened with the Trump trial. It's 34 counts. And most of the charges are, well, Stalin said, Show me the van, and I'll figure out the crime. So that should be already enough of an awakening for people as it is. But at this point, the existential threat still has to be now brought, I'm guessing. I suppose in a sense that the border isn't an issue per se, but, a Russian fleet off with, a Russian fleet somewhere between Key West and Cuba, that's going to wake a lot of people. Now, what's going to happen? I have no idea. What's of any of this? I'm actually expecting the China-Taiwan invasion to happen soon. And we're calling that out when the Russian-Ukraine fight had started, or war, whatever you want to call it. I do recall with NATO was trying to get Ukraine brought into the alliance, but the rules, regulations, whatever you want to call it, to join NATO is that you cannot be actively engaged in any conflict. And they're looking to bend the rules as much as possible. So if you want to talk about corruption, I shudder at how corrupt NATO itself actually is. I have no idea. I've got some ideas, but I have no idea. So whatever happens with NATO at this point, I don't know what to say. But again, it wouldn't surprise me that they're going to weasel their way in. I guess the best way to sum up NATO is that it's the military-industrial complex looking for an excuse to. It's a military-industrial complex that's looking for an excuse to justify its existence. And Lord knows how many people in NATO have their companies on the side or will have contracts with their respective countries' military apparatus or apparatchik. I think I'm not sure if that's the right word or not. Anyway, they have a vested interest in going to war. Not particularly worried about Canada. I guess we don't have much to speak of anyway, but that's neither here nor there. Let me go back up here. More escalation happened. Well, I already covered that as well. And draft. Will it happen? Maybe. I'm still of the opinion that Trump's going to come back in and he's going to just things would de-escalate very quickly just because he did end up stopping 7 wars during his first term presidency. So if there's someone that should be able to tone things down, I don't see anybody that did. I mean, Obama getting that Nobel Prize for Peace, being only in office for 6 months, like at the time, I just said, what the fuck did he do? He didn't do a goddamn fucking thing for that. So now in terms of the draft, I remember that was a topic that was brought up by Biden himself, but much like Ukraine, he was looking at including women. Well, the bitches in America started to lose their shit. And it was amazing to see, if only for a little while, pardon the MGTOW part of me here, but it was amazing to see all of a sudden all those feminists that were strong and independent and this and that, the other thing, I'll be happy to be in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant, that sort of thing. Like the switch that was turned on for well, anything a guy can do, I can do just as well. Well, it's time for you to throw you into the military. Maybe not. So I'm hoping that there's going to be an emphasis to make sure that there are enough women that are recruited as well, too. So We'll see. we will see. And on that note, Naroki, if you're not unmuted, I would recommend you do so, please. There we go. All yours.
All right. Yes. This is not the U.S. Armed Forces. This is the Adeptus Custodes in Warhammer 40K. Female Adeptus Custodes, because the Custodes aren't going to make the sandwiches by themselves. And with that, we will move on to the next topic.
You went there. That's cool.
Ham sandwich.
Yeah, well, I will have to find it. There was a thing done by the Babylon Bee where suddenly it was like women were going to be drafted if they weren't married or whatever, and it was so there were these two women in this house, and all of a sudden that these two women started fighting over who was going to make the guy in the house a sandwich.
Gotta love the bee. I do.
That's I
awesome.
love that website. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that they chose the bee suddenly chose not to post up on anywhere except YouTube. They were posting up on Rumble for a while and they stopped. Anyway, next topic. This one it's a good thing we were on this topic because the reason why I had to start moving around, start making all that noise, folks, is because I was like I don't know what the hell happened, but all of a sudden I just almost fell asleep sitting here.
Really? I mean, it's happened to me before.
I mean, yeah, I know it was totally you, Angel.
I tend to do that.
All right,
it's too deep. That's what I tell you. My stuff is too deep, and some people can't handle it.
So I had to get up and walk around. Otherwise, I was going to fall asleep. But now we're on a topic that I can get my teeth into. Now,
oh boy,
as we all know, Disney owns Star Wars, and I will actually get into the Disney part of it. But The Acolyte came out, and The Acolyte, where do I even start with this show? Okay, let's just start out with the actual fact that I think it was Victoria Headland used to be Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant. Just let that sink in. So there's no way that she did not know what Harvey Weinstein is doing. They brought her in to champion the force is female. Now, you look at the premise of The Acolyte, and you can smell woke on it from 1,000 miles away. And everybody was telling them that, but they went ahead and did it anyway, which gets me into the next point on this, which is, and now we definitely have our answer, because remember when we were talking about how they were going to make this, how they announced that the Silver Surfer was going to be female on the same day Bob Iger survived a stockholders vote in Disney, and Bob Iger was on the record saying, so we're done with woke. And my speculation at the time was either A, Iger was lying through his teeth, or B, somebody in Disney decided to do this to let Bob Iger know that he wasn't actually the one running the company. It was a group of other people. Well, now we know Bob Iger was lying through his teeth, because there's no way that Bob Iger could have looked at this and not seen that it was going to be a woke piece of trash. And it is. Now we get into the actual. No, we're not done yet. Now we got to get into the actors who, not only one of them posted up some racist stuff and basically engaged in anti-white racism, but some of the other actors could not even be bothered to read or research any of the actual Star Wars lore, and one of them actually went so far as to say that it was Anakin Skywalker that blew up the Death Star. and not Luke Skywalker. Yes, I know. Don't hit yourself too hard in the head there, Angel. You'll get yourself a permanent indentation.
Jesus.
It's not over. It is not over. Okay, so then we get into the actual writing itself. Now, the writing is so bad that it's like you have to wonder whether or not they actually had a script doctor actually do a proper script breakdown of the actual story itself, because there are so many holes in the story that it's almost to quote the critical drinker and a couple other people, the story is literally unwatchable. We're not done. We're not done. We're not done. Now, there was all of the good people were either aliens or non-white men. The only white male that had a speaking role in the part was a criminal. And finally, we're finally coming to the end of this disaster. Oh, no, sorry, you got one other thing beyond that. When it became very clear that the show was going to tank, Star Wars turned and blamed the fans for being misogynistic and not watching it. And then they went even one step further, and they literally, and this is something that I speculated, I was talking with Rusten 2 days ago, where they first of all, they paid off, for instance, Variety and whatever, to write these stories that made it look as though the Acolyte was doing better than it actually was, and it wasn't. In fact, it was doing even worse than the show that came out before. And this has been some speculation that's been floating around. They literally paid off people to go onto social media and to try to convince everybody via basically the Sam Biddle routine. Which, if you don't know what that is, if you want to know, what happened was that at the peak of Big Gamergate, Sam Biddle hired a bunch of trolls to go on to chat boards and social media, whatever, to try to challenge the Gamergate crowd. And they were so easy to spot that they were getting shot down. Well, something like this is expected to have happened, because apparently, and I ran into one of them, the level of willful ignorance of the guy who was posting up at this one group on Facebook. I mean, the guy was literally so stupid that it's he's either a total retard or he was being paid off. One of the two. So this is an unmitigated disaster. They're blaming everyone but themselves. Oh, wait. No, we're not. I just remembered something else too. This show is so bad that.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. Dave Cowboy Filoni has actually has been smeared over this. The one remaining thing that Star Wars potentially had going for it was Cowboy Filoni. He has now been smeared by this, and this show is so bad that I have seen comments saying that the entire Star Wars franchise is people saying and it's not just white guys either. A guy I saw saying was a black dude, saying that Star Wars is effectively dead. So this show is so bad that it is actually started to damage some of the core elements and some of the people that haven't been touched, because it's the way it's going to go now is that thanks to this show, Filoni and Jon Favreau are probably going to get removed if anybody buys up Lucasfilm, because Disney is going to have to sell it off, because it's they just absolutely tanked. That's how bad it was. I didn't mean to go on for as long as I did, but yeah, The Acolyte is absolute woke trash that the people who were involved in it, aka the showrunner, Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant, I'm not going to mention her by her first name because she doesn't deserve it. I'm just going to call her Weinstein's ex-personal assistant, was put in charge of this. and there was just levels of incompetence all the way through this that makes you wonder if these people actually even went to film school or know anything about filmmaking, much less giving them a multi-million-dollar franchise to produce. And with that, I am done. I'm going to turn it over to Angel.
First, let me just say that Disney's era of owning Lucasfilms is gonna go down as their biggest debacle, I think, ever. And Marvel is not far behind. What this show represents is the ultimate betrayal of not just the brand of Star Wars, the actual impact that it took within the culture of this country, the fan base, the creator himself, George Lucas. It goes against everything that we, the fans, want to see out of Star Wars. I have not sat and actually witnessed the episodes. I've read enough. And I've seen enough previously to know that I don't even want to see this. But I did see clips, and I saw the racist remarks, and I know the history of the individuals involved, including Cowboy Filoni. And I've been, on the bubble about him, by the way, for a while now. But I've been on the edge of saying he's part of the problem because he is very easily manipulated into agreeing with some of the people that are causing the majority of the problem. And I think he does that because he doesn't want to lose this gig that he has. As we know, anybody who says anything they don't like, they remove. But they somehow keep the double K, if you know who I'm talking about. She keeps her job, even though they keep destroying this franchise. But the one rumor I keep hearing about is not only are they going to eventually have to sell Lucasfilms, one little thing that people don't know about the initial selling of Lucasfilms to the Disney Corporation by George Lucas was that George Lucas got stock options and rights within the entire Disney brand. Okay, so yeah, he got 4.5 billion for Lucasfilms and all the entities within it, and he doesn't have 100% say in anything anymore creatively. They come to him for advice. They never take it. Uh, there's been rumors that he might be on board to help creatively with the next movie project. Heh. Um, Not as a director, but as a consultant, maybe possible screen adapter, story. Consultant is the best way to put it. But what I will say is, this show's going to be this show, The Acolyte, is going to be such a black eye to the franchise and to the brand that I would not put it out of the realm of possibility that George Lucas ends up buying Star Wars back and Lucasfilms back from Disney when they start seeing record losses on Disney Plus. They're already seeing it on the theme parks. And if they lose their audience, which they're losing on record numbers, they're screwed. They're going to start hemorrhaging money, which they're doing at this point, but it's going to get a whole lot worse for them. And they're going to have to start flipping these companies around. Now, why did I bring up Lucas owning part of the stocks in the whole Disney brand? Because, yeah, the 4.5 billion he got up front, great, right? He's made close to, I think it was in total, 12 to 13 billion dollars, okay, from stock, meaning everything that comes out with Disney on it since the sale, merger of Lucasfilms, everything that's come out, he's gained profit from. Small percentage in his stocks, but he has gained a lot more money since that sale. And it's not just Star Wars or Indiana Jones or whatever. No, it's the entirety of everything that Disney puts out. So to me, I really, I'm on the fence of will he buy it, will he not buy it, will he sell it to him? I don't know because he's making so much more money just being a stockholder. But I would like to see somebody who actually loves the lore, who loves Star Wars, who loves the originals, even the prequels, and really continue forward with something that belongs narratively and not tries to fit a woke agenda. That's what the Acolytes is. They had a great actress involved in Carrie Ann Moss, and what they do? One show, she's gone. Right? That's it. No more Carrie Ann. So now the people involved are actors nobody cares about, nobody knows. Uh, they're not good actors. From what I hear, they're very bad actors. I might see the first episode or two. I'm not sure. I'm on the bubble. It doesn't strike me as anything I'm gonna like, and I've been so disappointed already in a lot of Star Wars stuff, including the possibility of a Rey movie. Nobody wants to see that. We had the Solo movie, which was terrible. The sequel trilogy ended up horribly. They've been delaying The Mandalorian forever. Who knows if that's going to actually get a fourth season or a movie? We don't know. Everything's in the bubble. You had the terrible way that they did the Obi-Wan Kenobi series instead of doing a full-length, really good movie, which they had planned. They decided to make a TV series streaming about basically when he meets Leia, which, then he did what he did with Luke with Leia, kind of when she was a little girl. Very weird. I like Ewan McGregor in the role. I wish they would have gotten a better film out of this, but they didn't want to do that. I honestly think that the best course forward is for him to completely remove KK. Bob Iger needs to go because he's a known liar. There needs to be a complete revolt and reboot at Disney. Let proper people go in there. This means, Cowboy Hat Filoni might need to go. The one guy I do trust is John Favreau. I think he's a very creative individual. I think he should be involved in creative control of Lucasfilms. And with him, I think we have a better shot of actually restructuring something that the fans might like. But Bob Iger, KK, these people need to go. They're destroying the brand. They're doing it on purpose. The Force is not female. The Force is not transgender. The Force is the Force. Okay? That's what it is. Yeah, some people say that he's George Soros 2.0. I don't know about that stuff. Okay? But I do know that as far as his films, I've liked a lot of his work. He's a good filmmaker. And as far as Star Wars is concerned, I'm not going to get into conspiracies of George Soros. I'm going to just say that the only one I trust film-wise is John Favreau from the decades of good work he's done. And even like his misses, like Cowboy versus Aliens, to me, that's a fun movie. I enjoy that movie. So I think that he would be the right person. If anybody, at this point, is there anybody else? I don't know. I don't know if there's enough bright, creative people out there to take on such a task as actually running this brand. They've already destroyed Willow. They've destroyed Indiana Jones. They've destroyed Star Wars. Remember, Lucasfilms didn't produce 1,000 movies. These are the basic brands. What are they going to reach into? THX 1138 or what's the next thing they might dip into from Lucas's past? American Graffiti, maybe they'll remake that. It's very limited. And if they already destroyed the core of it, they can't even do a Howard the Duck movie, and they own the rights to that, and that's even part of Marvel, and he's been in some of the stuff. They can't even get that off the ground. So I'm very disappointed with Disney. I used to love Disney. Now I can't stand even looking at them. I will never visit a Disney theme park again. I will never support them again until they correct their problems. And if that means selling Lucasfilms to a competent owner who loves Star Wars and is willing to make the best possible, stuff going forward, And that's the way this should go. If not, you know what? I've had my fair share of good Star Wars content over my life. I'm in my mid 40s, and now with AI technology and fan films, I could get my fill of Star Wars lore from other people who can make it look as good as the professionals. So be warned, the Lucasfilms. Be warned, Disney. The fans are being able to make their own movies. We don't need you anymore. We could continue loving Star Wars in our own way and give ourselves the force that is eternal, that moved us, not the crap you guys are trying to push for your stupid agendas. With that said, I'm done because if not, I'm going to go on for 3 hours here in a rookie. So, oh, this is such a terrible moment to be a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, it is. V, you're up.
Yep. Well, I don't want to see the IP just turned over just to anybody. I don't know. I would like it to go to somebody that can express the grim dark. Yes, Star Wars has a grim dark side of it. It's kind of like Warhammer 40K in a way. For example, I mean, you hardly see a fraction of the Sith powers. It's more than just Force lightning. Okay, Sith powers. You have Sith alchemy. You have all kinds of stuff. Where, for example, like one time, in some of the literature, you have Emperor Palpatine punishing the guy who made the Death Star plans, put him in a cage, and let a whole bunch of, space beetles eat his body, and then transferred his soul into another body so he can continue working.
Was this part of the books, the novelizations?
I'm not exactly sure of the reference, but I do know it's on Wikipedia.
It might be part of the novelizations because that was never on actual film.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It was never done on actual film, but I think the novelizations took a lot of liberties. Remember, none of that was official canon. There were a lot of this was stuff that Lucas allowed as Elseworld tales of Star Wars.
Well, even the comic books get hardcore. Talking about possessions and actually being able to possess somebody else's body. Just Sith sorcery, creating illusions, creating mutated force beasts. There's all kinds of stuff. So many directions it can go visually and story-wise. So if the IP ever went anywhere, I want it to be in the hands of somebody that can express the true reality. Because, you're not going to see a whole lot of people being chopped in half and all the brutal stuff, It's brutal. You think a Sith is going to... I don't know. They don't pussyfoot around. Okay? And the novels and comic books, anything else other than the movies. I would like that to reflect. That's why Star Wars is... I'm a Star Wars fan, but I'm not a Star Wars... what's the word I'm looking for?
Fanatic?
Well, fan and fanatic are the same thing, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not
obsessed with it. Yeah.
Right. So, if they did want to explore the actual universe and like Night Sisters, for example, they have some horrid magic / force rituals that do all kinds of crazy. I mean, there's so much to explore. Like Aboleth, the force demon. This thing has like no form, but it can take any form. Its force powers are unrivaled by anybody in the Star Wars universe, and it's just so bad, so powerful that the Sith and Luke Skywalker's order teamed up together to take it down. So, I mean, there's so much that can be done with it. I did see the Acolyte commercials through YouTube, and I was excited. So you guys are saying it sucks?
That might be the understatement of the century, my friend. That's what everybody's saying.
I was so looking forward to pirating.
would be disrespect of things that actually suck. Continue.
Yeah, I was actually looking forward to pirating it. Because I don't support Disney. Oh, man. I bought the Lucas's releases. I bought all those. But the Disney stuff? Nah. Just pirate it. That way, if I don't enjoy it, it's not money out of my pocket.
You know, it's funny. I have like the whole collection of the original 6 plus Rogue One, which I thought was a good movie, and it has like the Clone Wars cartoons, Rebels, stuff like that. But the sequels,
I love all that stuff.
I stopped at The Force Awakens, and after I saw The Last Jedi, I was like, no, man, you're not stealing my money after this crap. And then I saw Rise of Skywalker, and I was like, yo, I'm not even like bothering about it. So the last 2 movies I did not purchase on Blu-ray, which sucks because they're not in my collection. I always wanted to have a full collection, and I also never bought Solo because that I saw, and my God, that was so horrible also. I mean,
I'm going to be honest with you. The last actual movie, Star Wars movie I saw was the one where, I don't know, Rey, she starts learning her powers. I was like, nah, I think I'm pretty much done with the movies. But that
was probably the last Jedi.
I still, the video games are phenomenal. I have most of them, if not. I think I have there's 2 or 3 that are no longer in circulation, even for digital downloads. But I have the rest. And it's fun. It's great. Even if someone can live up to those standards. I want violence. Being a Jedi and being at war, Disney's just pussyfooted. Hell, Luca's halfway pussyfooted. I want a brutal series to come out. But that's my fantasy. Anyhow, let's not keep the show going too long. Let's go. Let's go, rear son.
All right.
Let's go, rear son.
Bringing up the rear.
Yeah.
The rear.
I honestly had no intention of watching The Acolyte. The only thing that's been good to come out of Disney, and I was happy with Bad Batch. Seasons 1 and 2. 3 was, I mean, it ends with Omega joining the rebellion. I mean, it was kind of nice to see Asajj Ventress not actually be a twat, but that's neither here nor there. Season 3 just floundered. Like it just didn't have the drive. I mean, with Ahsoka, I had such high hopes that it was going to be all right, and nothing personal to the main actress for Ahsoka, but
Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, Dawson.
Mm-hmm.
The woman, she's got does she have the acting chops for it? Yeah, but
I mean, she looked the part. I mean, to be legit, she looked great. She's a good actress.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it. in terms of she's not a live action actress, which is something that was terribly lacking. I mean, hearing of the stories, I believe it was Ray Park and Ewan McGregor, they actually had to slow down the sword fighting because they were just going so fast and so hard with each other that it was great. I mean, that would have been amazing to actually see how fast it actually was recorded at. And I know that Hayden Christensen spent like 5 or 6 months training with someone who developed his weapon style, the lightsaber techniques. There's 6 of them. Shio and Shu. Anyway,
Did you ever see the behind the scenes of him and Ewan practicing for the prequels? They were going at it like they were really at war. I mean, these guys were like, I mean, this is like mastery.
Oh yeah, it was intense.
Yeah,
absolutely intense, and it was good to see that. That was really about the only good bit in Obi-Wan was when there was the flashback with Anakin and Obi-Wan were dueling. They couldn't de-age them, but that's another story. But I mean, Chris Gore has apparently seen more than just episodes 1 and 2, and according to him, this is the best it's going to get, and it's awful writing. It's as Mark Twain is quoted to say, "Write what you know." Well, head case or head brain case, whatever. I'll say her name, Leslie Headland, doesn't know her fucking twat from her fucking head, and she knows nothing about how to write. Filoni can't do live action to save his life, and I was on the record again to say that I had high hopes, but the man failed miserably. Star Wars is, unfortunately, in my honest opinion, a shadow of its former self. No one knows what they're doing. It's gone completely off the deep end. And honestly, I honestly hope and pray that I'm praying that this is going to be the final nail in the coffin, because Star Wars needs to retire for about 20 fucking years. And if, Angel, as you were saying, if Lucas decides to buy it back, he needs to have someone who understands it, because Filoni is full of baloney. I mean, he's...
I saw what you did there.
Yeah.
Clever boy.
I've been calling him phony baloney for a while now. So I started to put that phrase, for me at least anyway, when Ahsoka came out, because that sucks ass as well too. It just terrible. I mean, if they're going to do the Thrawn trilogy, then you have to incorporate Timothy Zahn if he's still alive, because he's the only one that knows Thrawn inside and out, because it was his villain. Darflean she needs to be put out to pasture, literally, my honest opinion, because she knows the business. That's it. That's all that she knows is the business end. And again, let's not forget that she got snubbed by Lucas.
Well, she keeps inserting herself into the movies too. Continue.
Yeah, and there's that as well too. I mean, there was that one episode in Mandalorian season 3 with Jack Black and Lizzo. Ugh.
Oh my god, that was such a terrible episode. Oh, please don't talk. Oh my god, that was so bad.
I know. And that was at least the best that they've been able to do for a Scooby-Doo mystery. They can't even do that with this murder mystery. A Jedi fucking gets killed. Carrie-Ann Moss gets killed by a fucking thin kunai in her sternum. Unless it hits the heart, and I don't think it did, the Headland obviously doesn't understand how investigations go, genetics. I mean, if they can fucking test for not mitochondria, midichlorians.
Midichlorians. Yes, midichlorians.
If they can test for midichlorians, then it just doesn't fucking compute. And there's nothing in this. And I mean, really, all that this is, well, this is Headland failing upwards. I mean, Naoki's brought this up time and time again with women that are down on the sacks, but they keep moving up. I mean, I hope that Charmaine will buy Chinoy, where the fuck that. I enjoy making men uncomfortable. You remember her. Haven't heard anything about her, thank fucking God.
Oh, I gotta throw in some context there. That particular statement was done, and a lot of that particular statement. The context around that was involved around with honor killings in India. So it was taken out of context, but yeah, it was given the history of Star Wars, it was pretty damning. Continue.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, with that statement that she made, that was enough right there to put a lot of people on pause. And yes, I said as well too, it's taken out of context, but what do you think the chances are that she wants to turn Star Wars, she wants to go into Star Wars with that attitude? So Disney can do all it wants, but like I said, this is the best, according to Chris Gore, this is the best it's going to be for the Acolyte. And again, saw episode 1, re-release with my son. The Acolyte came up, and we were already warned, stay tuned to see more about the upcoming Acolyte series on Disney+. As soon as the Acolyte flashed, I got up, I flipped the screen the bird. I know I wouldn't have been heard, but I screamed like, this is not Star Wars. Fuck you. And I walked out. So the only way Disney's going to be getting any cash out of me for Star Wars is for re-releases in the theater for me to go with my son. That's it. I hope that this is a long, slow, even more torturous, painful death for Star Wars, because unfortunately, at the end of the day, my opinion is that it has to go through all of these steps, the varying stages of grief or denial or whatever, but Star Wars has to die. Like it's over. Filoni is the creative director, the executive creative director of Star Wars. Well, he needs to get his priorities straightened, and always going for the strong female characters, it's driven me away. I'm not going back. I'm not in any rush to go back. And yeah, Star Wars is dead. Long live Star Wars. I don't know how else to say it. Just fucking die. So, Naruki, that's all I got, man. Back to you.
Okay, yeah. We got the thing that really stands out is that this particular it was just an absolute total disaster all the way through. Kathleen Kennedy was not doing, I mean even allowing for Kathleen Kennedy knowing about the business side of it, it's like, like, how is it that they could not spot the holes in this script? How is it that they could get actors so blithely ignorant about the lore? I mean, that falls into the category of being absolutely unprofessional. If you're an actor, man, like, you get yourself familiar with the lore. You get yourself familiar with the fact that it is the actor's responsibility to be responsible for the character, and they couldn't even be bothered to do that. But anyway, I'm not going to cover this. I am going to say one thing though, because I almost fell asleep here before this topic started, and I'm starting to fade out again, although I'm not falling asleep. I'm going to drop topic number 7 because I don't know whether I can go another hour, and because the Alphabet Mafia and the Nashville shooter are both some very heavy topics that will probably potentially take us almost to one. It's going to take us almost an hour to get through those two topics. And then we got Dr. Fauci on top of that. So yeah, topic 7. I am going to drop that as a topic, and we will maybe add that in 281, which will be the show that Rearson will be doing on next Sunday. Because I'm definitely running out of steam tonight, and my energy's been low since I got off work. So let's get into the next topic here, and that is this one is just absolutely mind-bogglingly stupid. Because it is mind-bogglingly stupid because it is mind-bogglingly stupid. As we all know, there's definitely homosexuals are not a single uni voice. There's definitely opinions that vary. With Blair White immediately springs to mind. There's more than a few other, but there's an organization known as Gays Against Groomers, and the name of the title says everything. This is a group of homosexual men and women who don't like the fact that they have pedophiles and people trying to expose themselves to kids and indoctrinate kids using the LGBTQ flag as cover. They're definitely against it. They came out pre Elon Musk Twitter. They actually got their accounts suspended on Twitter under Jack Dorsey. Elon Musk immediately reinstated them after he bought the company. This is just the absolute height of insanity. It also exposes the corruption, because I have covered the SPLC in the past, but this is going to leave you absolutely gobsmacked. This is just the absolute height of stupidity. The Southern Poverty Law Center has officially labeled Gays Against Groomers a gay and homosexual group to the list of anti LGTBQ groups in the United States, and they have designated it a hate group. So what you literally have is the SPLC has more or less taken a gay group and labeled it as a hate group against the group that they actually are. Just let that sink in. The absolute height of corruption and insanity. The other thing, and this is something really weird, because I was expecting, so far, I was expecting a little bit more action. In June, I was expecting that this was going to be the month that there was pushback against, that there was going to be some serious pushback against the Alphabet Mafia. What has actually happened is that the Alphabet Mafia, the Rainbow Coalition or whatever, they have experienced major pushback, and there has been a clear decline in the amount of corporate support they're getting this time around, and it's actually to the point where I think it's almost like 30-40%. When these pride events are taking place, they're getting major blowback. For instance, there was a parade, I believe it was in California, that got blockaded by a bunch of pro-Lebanon, pro-Gaza protesters, and the two groups actually almost clashed. And Joe Rogan was talking about it on his show. So support for Pride is starting to falter, which is no surprise. But I mean, the one thing that really stands out to me is that, I mean, how out of touch or how corrupt do you have to be to label a gay group as anti-gay? That would be basically, this would be like having, say, a pro-black group in the United States being labeled as white supremacists. You know, what the hell is it? That character that on the Chappelle show.
The black white supremacist.
Yeah, the black white supremacist. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's a great skit.
yeah, that would make the what the hell was it? What the hell is the name of that guy's character that he was playing? God damn it, I can't remember, but that's literally the same thing. And it's just leaving me gobsmacked. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Angel.
By the way, his name was Clayton Bigsby.
Yes, that's right. The Clayton Bigsby African American Association. That's literally that's literally the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
Go continue, Angel. Thanks.
Yeah, I wanted to give you enough time to see if you came up with it there, but yeah. By the way, that's one of the funniest Chappelle Show skits in the first. I think that was the first season.
That was like the first show of the first season.
Yeah, that was probably. I'll never forget that one and the N-word family. Oh, that was. Remember that, the Milkman?
Oh
No.
yeah, I remember. I've got the first 3 seasons sitting at home on DVD.
Good stuff. But look, I don't want to have this turned. And I'm talking about the country, not the show. But I don't want to have this turned into where our normal gay and lesbian people are attacked or endangered in any way. That's not part of what's happening here with the heterosexuals like ourselves, or at least myself. I speak for nobody else. But I don't want to, have anybody attack these individuals. I have gay friends. One of my best friends is a lesbian. I've known her for 6 years now. And, lovely person. Her wife is a beautiful woman. And I mean, her wife is hot. I'm not even kidding. Beautiful inside and out. My friend's beautiful inside and out. I mean, they're both beautiful ladies. So, I mean, it's not a gay straight thing. Is a insane thing. Okay, it's insane to want to make the entire population know every gender that you come up with out of the ether, because now it's like 50 genders, right? That's insanity. What we're dealing with is not gay individuals. We're dealing with insane people. If you watch some of this YouTube stuff that you see from some of these folks, within that community, you start seeing a pattern of literally these people can't hold their shit together. One guy was at some place and the guy said, sorry, because a big 6'4" dude, okay, not even with a surgery done under, just some big ass dude, and talks like a guy, but he has a woman's wig on. So now we're supposed to be part of their delusion and be like, yes, ma'am. I mean, this guy was like, you should address me as ma'am. The guy was like, you look like a dude. Now, I am sorry if that hurts their feelings. But we're in a society where we're very visual, and if that dude in a dress or whatever is a transgender, as they call themselves, and he had some surgery that I'm not aware of, if that was the case, he got the basement bargain value of the surgery because he looks like a man. So I mean, he didn't get like the full scale Bruce Jenner, like 4,000 surgeries and 25 million, surgical prices. Or this guy probably got like his penis chopped off in China and fed to the wolves in Russia, and they flipped his bird inside and out, and he got like the treatment probably done in South America. I don't know where the hell this guy got his stuff done, but look, this is pure insanity. The country, the world are filled with crazy people. They're unfortunately being allowed to run the asylum. It's being done for worldly population. That's really what's going on. This is to make a normal thing out of pedophilia, uh, perversion, and historically, we'll go back and we'll talk about, say, things in the past like, oh, Rome, right? The Greeks, remember they all became freaks and they had sexual parties and they were deviants. Caligulas, these behaviors are what destroys countries and destroys powers. There's a reason for it. And
sorry to step in, my friend, but that was more
Yeah.
like it was Rome.
right. No. I'm just going historically. This is, and I said Caligula also, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. No, and I have a funny story about it with history class when I was in high school about Caligula. Teacher brought in the wrong movie. We saw penises and all kinds of things.
Oops.
That's a true story. Mr. Rubin was a great teacher, but he made a huge mistake, and he cried in class when he noticed the mistake. I love Mr. Rubin, a great teacher. But that's a very funny story. But no, I'm talking about past empires have always been corrupt from within, and Caligula, look what happened, and that was the normal thing back then. And they're trying to normalize that now, which is what I was trying to get at, even to the point of trying to normalize pedophilia, the murder of babies. But all this right now is done for one thing only: power. And they're using the method of global control to also get us to depopulate the planet because, folks, the agenda is, remember, to build back better. But for who? For humans? Or maybe for other individuals who shall become more disclosed within the near future. Remember, Inside the Jackal's Head, which is heard 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern on Sunday nights, I discussed how this is all one big pill and one big plot. So you might want to go back and listen to the archive I did tonight with Robert D. Moore and stuff, because I got into this stuff, and I think all this stuff is interconnected. Everything we're witnessing is interconnected, guys. Every country is going through this. Every agenda and narrative. Notice how some of these players look very close to each other. Some of the stories coming out are very closely resembling each other from each individual countries that are going through similar things. It's more than a coincidence. With that said, I'm done, except for one thing. If gay people can have a gay pride, why can't straight people? Is that wrong? Let them have a straight pride.
That makes too much sense. Makes too much sense. Or,
Look, they have BET, right? Why can't white people have white entertainment TV? What? I'd watch a channel called What? Why not? But it's racist when white people do it, right? Anybody want to touch that one with a 20-foot pole?
well, maybe a 20-foot schlong, but that's about it.
Well, hey, Latino entertainment TV, why not? Let Latino, and let's all have our own. But you know what? That's more, division. Let's not do that. Let's, unite as a human race. Forget the division. Forget all the genders. That's what we need to do. But unfortunately, we're brainwashed. So, who's next on the list here, by the way?
Oh, that would be Rearson and Everson. I posted up some nice, wonderful photos of sexy Twi'leks for you.
There you go. Rearson Bring it up the rear, my friend, or
Let's see.
something like that.
Hey, I'm still here.
Hey, V.
Damn it.
All right,
Yeah,
go
there
ahead.
you go. All right, V. Well, whatever.
No, I don't have much to say on this.
Well, then why do you speak? You should have
Just
stayed
to
quiet
be-
and been
just to
like,
be
I don't
that
got
way.
nothing to say, you know. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of think it's kind of like a front. I'm pretty sure there are people that are tired of being called groomers. I'm sure there are. But that doesn't. The only way I can believe these people is if they weren't engaged in groomer activities. So there have been plenty of these people who claim not to be pedophiles that end up in jail for pedophilic activity. So I know the point of creating this group is to separate themselves from it, but at the same time, I don't know, who cares? I don't care there's a group out there that wants to groom children or not. It's I don't know. It's you would think the more sexuality is put out in the world, the more we can possibly catch pedophiles. But the waters just seem to be getting muddier and muddier. Yeah, straight date? No, it's not gonna happen. You know, I was with a woman once. It's like, you
only once?
nice to me. It's Woman's Day. I'm like, okay, so when is Man's Day? Every day is Man's Day. Yeah. So, and you know, you mentioning the hype around Gay Pride Month. You guys aren't kidding. I didn't even notice it was Gay Pride Month. I didn't remember. I've not seen anything that reminded me of it. I didn't.
Me neither. Yeah.
There's just nothing to prompt me to think, oh, hey, it's Gay Month, or whatever they call it. So, but then again, it just maybe because I'm in Wisconsin right now, and it's a red state. Who knows? It's very conservative around here. Very, very normal, actually. Other than the fact that people don't close their blinds or shades or curtains at night. It's really weird. You can see all the neighbors and what they're doing. But they're walking around their kitchens or watching TV. It's really weird. But then again, when you have a society that's not perverse, you got nothing to hide, I suspect. And that's kind of why people do things. I'm guessing. I was raised, you lock the doors and close the blinds at night. People don't need to know your business. So, anyways, I think people, nobody, should it be thrown into our face and celebrated in order for us to accept it? Tell you the truth, I'd be more accepting if it wasn't thrown in my face. Yes, I understand there's gay people in the world. Hey, great, good for them. I'm not mad at you. You know, you do you. But if you're throwing it in my face at every second, I'm gonna hate you. And for the wrong reasons. So that's just something people might want to think about. If there's a bunch of queer, lesbian, bi, gay, whatever, people out there that are preying upon children, then as a gay person, if you're going to form this group, go out and expose these people then. But just say, hey, I'm not with them, I don't think it's enough. Because if you're going to make a group, you got to do something with it. You really kind of have a responsibility to. But it's going to be an uphill battle for them because I don't want to use polarizing words or offensive descriptions here, but I won't use the word perverse. What I'll say is deviant or deviated. If you have a deviated sexuality, chances are you can be deviated even more, and then even more, till you find yourself in a position that you shouldn't be in. Okay? It's a slippery slope. Straight guy, I don't know, see some gay porn or something, maybe that turns him a little bi-curious. Next thing you know, he's full on gay. He or she, whatever, non-binary, whatever. And that can slip into other places, okay? I've developed my own fetishes after seeing certain things. You know, those gothic clown girls are hot.
Oh yeah, and do you suck toes? Because I totally love toes.
I don't do toes, my man.
Dude, you're missing out. The jam in between the girls' toes is, a little hot sauce on the toes.
That's the ugliest part of the human body.
No. Especially when they got the acrylic nails done down there. I love that.
Oh, I will eat butt before I put someone's foot in my mouth.
No, because see, the feces come out the butt,
What the fuck? What the fuck?
I rather have poop than poop. That's all I'm saying. But you know what's funny, though? This is how great God works. He put the poop area where the best part of the woman's body is, which is like 3 inches away, right? 2 inches away. So you have the option of either just enjoying that beautiful Garden of Eden and then missing the valve of the underground, which is the dumping ground of the female body. Or you could, really enjoy life because fuck it, we're going to die anyway. Just, say pussy to ass to mouth and just enjoy the labors that God gave you.
Oh my God. Once
You know
again,
argument, by the way, what does that argument even mean? What does that argument even mean? I'm going to die anyways. What if it was reversed? What if you were immortal?
That would be even better. More pussy to ass to mouth. That just means I get to do it for eternity. Jesus. What's the downfall? It's more winning. Like Charlie Sheen said, winning. That's what that is. See?
Winning.
Think about it.
Winning.
Not this time.
Jack
I got tiger blood.
Oh my God.
I have Cuban blood, which is better than
All right, V, are you done? Can we move on to Rearson?
Yeah.
Oh, he's been there. We're waiting for you to drop in there.
I mean, look at Rearson. He wears a gimp suit and it's off.
Yeah, well, that's true. He is a furry lover.
He puts that red ball in his mouth and he's in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Staying there.
It's wonderful to know that you guys are speaking on my behalf.
He leaves the blinds open so that they can see him pleasuring himself to twilight porn as well.
I reside downstairs. There's no windows.
Okay, Rearson, you're up.
Yeah.
No discussions about Twilight porn now, okay?
Well,
Yeah,
hey,
please. Yeah.
I just brought up that there was that Asian that was the Twi'lek dance from Return of the Jedi. I'd be happy with that. You
By the
brought
way, Rusin, who's your favorite little rascal? Is it Spanky or Alfalfa?
Don't answer that. Continue, Rearson.
Petey was the best one of them all. There was no politics. The dog was easy, relatively easy and simple, just as men should be. Anyway,
The bestiality, write that down. Okay, good.
no,
All
not
right.
me, but hey, bestiality is legal in Canada, thanks to Trudeau. Anyway, SPLC heads gays against groomers. Good God! But
Hey, is it true having sex with a horse there is legal?
We just said bestiality is legal. Continue, Rearson.
Oh my God!
Yeah, don't look at me, man. I voted for that dumb fuck for once, and I made the mistake. Anyway, and I agree with you. Anyway,
Shame on you.
well, again, and I can't find. I don't remember where I saw the video, but Nampla, Paxton Oswald or Oswald Paxton, whatever that shit.
Patton Oswald.
Yeah, he's apparently a proud member of NAMBLA. It's basically the National Assembly of Man and Boy Lovers or something to that effect. The drive of NAMBLA, after they realized that they shouldn't have an actual head office, which got targeted, blown up, burned down, whatever the case may have been, back in the 70s, was to be decentralized. And their goal was to bring in pedophilia, and it was going to be hijacked. It was going to hijack basically the alphabet community. Well, sorry, the gay and lesbian. So that's where we are now, unfortunately. So for me, this is not surprising. Once I listened to that video, and again, I wish I could find it because I would love to share that with you guys here. So, and we've talked about the SPLC about 3 or 4, maybe 5 times before. So, we have the trend to go with the data that they are, well, my opinion is that they're compromised. They're part of the deep state to help push this shit through. And when Gays Against Groomers first came out, I'm like, you know what? I fully support these people. These are the individuals that need to stand out within the community and to start to push back to basically say, no, we're not like this, or enough of us, or shall we say most of us, are not like this. And I, at the end of the day, I only respect the idea of gay men, lesbians, and bisexuals. That's it. That's as far as my tolerance for non-heterosexual preferences, I guess might be the best way to say it, goes. I don't care about the two spirits. I don't care about those that are queer and whatever else. Sorry. And for those that need to chop off the dick or have a set of zipper tits, sorry. I do not feel. What's the meme that I saw recently enough? If you can't handle being in the body you're born with, why am I expected to deal with your mental instability? And why do I have to support your make-believe desired reality? Not my thing. And quickly moving on to the second one, support for Pride Month noticeably down. There was a poll that was taken, and the basis of it being that the amount of people that believe that the gender is what you're born with. So basically, do you know when you were a kid, did you pee standing up or did you pee sitting down? Those numbers are going back to what you're born with, that's what your gender is. And
I was standing up, gentlemen. That's all I'm saying.
well, I hope so. I hope so. The numbers that I saw, as much as say 5, maybe about 8 years ago, 7 or 8 years, say about 7 years ago, there was a slim enough majority, 54% had said that what you're born with is what you are. And that has now increased to about 66%. So, yeah, small penis, fuck off, whatever. Anyway, if you didn't hear that in the background, just some guy with a souped up vehicle. Anyway.
Compensated for the 2-inch pecker, is he?
Well, that's my thought about it. I mean, anyway, to each their own. But, so, common sense is starting to come back, and people are I don't know what the numbers are. I don't know where the polling came from. Was it more Republican states, or was it more rural? Did they go to, or did they call people that were in more red cities than blue cities? I honestly don't know. So I'm just going to throw that out there. But as I said, the trend has been that, and I think as what V was saying, and I think that's really what it's coming down to. I mean, after Bud Light and Gillette, and there was that one over in Spain, you know, just all of the
Doritos.
Thank you.
And the North Face.
And everything else that's happening from it as well too. I mean, Nexium hasn't hit mainstream yet, so we'll wait for that to see how that unfolds as well too. But I mean, part of what Trump has been campaigning on is to shut down. He will look at cutting off federal funding for schools, school boards, universities, colleges, whatever, legally, however you can do it, that are pushing, CRT and the whole messing up the kids because, and as V said it, because they can't stop fucking doing this. I'm sick of it. Anybody with, and I'm sure I speak for all of us here, we're all tired of it. I don't care anymore. And cross-dressers that are reading to kids in libraries, I'm sorry. If you're going to be like that, then you know what? You should get bobbited. That's just my opinion, and I'll leave it at that. Hiroki, back to you.
So, yeah, sorry, I had to unmute myself. So, yeah, this whole thing with the LGBTQ might not necessarily go away with a bang, but more of a whimper. Again, right? They were told quite specifically to leave the kids alone, and they won't do it. And just the amount of weight that they're using to try to allow this group access to kids is, I mean, I remember dealing with a couple people who were sexually abused as kids in the program, and they go through a really difficult time dealing with the trauma that comes from it. It's something, yeah, you can recover from it, but it's always the damage is always going to be there. And I mean, I'm not saying that as a victim of sexual abuse myself. I got lucky in that regard, but I mean, it's like, yeah, I'm glad I'm glad I didn't have to go through it. So yeah, I'm just reminding everybody we are only doing 6 topics tonight, not 7. Because I kind of figured we might go a little bit long. It's like it's 12:30 where I'm at now, and yeah, we're only getting to the last topic here. So let's just get on with the last topic tonight. And this one is also really interesting because this involved the Nashville shooter. Now, what happened with the Nashville shooter is that the Nashville shooter put out a manifesto Now, this manifesto was kept under lock and key by the Nashville police, and they wouldn't release it, and everybody was wondering why. Now, there was a mini leak when it came to Louder with Crowder, and they went and fired the police officers, or tried to get them fired, for the ones that did release it. But what they got didn't explain why the Nashville police and the city of Nashville were so tightly holding on to this. And it wasn't important enough for me to add it into the chat line for a topic, but a couple of months back, there were some parents of some of the victims that fought hard to make sure that the manifesto didn't see the light of day. And I mean, they fought hard, like brutally hard. And again, no one could figure out why. Because the first thing that came to mind is, well, maybe there's some prominent public officials that sexually abused her. That's the reason why they're covering it up. Upon hindsight, though, is that if the police had stumbled into that information, there would have been, if it came out, they would immediately have been nailed to the wall as to why they didn't investigate it. Turns out it wasn't that at all. What ended up happening is that there was another release of some of the manifesto a couple of days ago, and the part that got released was the pharmacopoeia, aka a list of all of the pharmaceuticals that the Nashville shooter had been taking. And it was a massive list. Now, what is really peculiar about this is and I said, when me and Rierson were discussing this, we had to go back to Uvalde. And I was listening to an Uvalde episode on macroaggressions. By the way, Rierson, I put that macroaggressions episode up there where Tulsi Gabbard and Vivek, maybe not Vivek Ramaswamy, isn't named what Tulsi Gabbard is definitely, and Favreau are definitely mentioned as having done that young Soros leadership thing, as has Ivanka Trump, by the way. But I digress. What happened in this particular episode is that these two podcasters just happened to be less than like maybe about 45 minutes away from Uvalde when the thing went down. So they got there very, very quickly. In fact, they got there before most law enforcement agencies could get there. The first thing they noticed when they got there, other than the fact that the local police were just hanging around and not doing anything, was the fact that for some strange, mysterious reason, the FDA arrived there, like maybe not first, but they were one of the first agencies to arrive. And it's like, how the hell did the FDA even know this was going on? Now, there is cases going back even before Columbine where Big Pharma has fought hard to make sure that the medical records of the individuals involved in school shootings or mass murders, there's been a consistent record of Big Pharma making sure that whatever pharmaceuticals that these people or this person was taking was not revealed to the public. And by legal record, the medical records of a deceased person are private property. They cannot be revealed even after death. Here's the thing. The Nashville shooter, well, she did have the medical record. She also listed off all of the pharmaceuticals that she was taking in her manifesto, which is not a legal document, which is not protected under doctor-patient privilege, which is not something that the FDA Big Pharma can just conveniently sweep under the rug. But, and this is where I get into the realm of speculation here. What they did do is they did find parents of a couple of the victims, probably offered to help them out financially. And in return for that, they would help pay the legal costs of the courts to try to prevent this particular document from being released to the public. So it wasn't sexual abuse. It wasn't naming a prominent political figure. What it looks like is that the FDA and Big Pharma were attempting to hide the implication, because this is a direct implication. You know, she was mentally unstable, and she was on SSRIs because she explicitly says that she was on SSRIs in her manifesto. And she was also on several other antipsychotic medications, as well as the medications involved in transitioning to boot, which also creates havoc. Now, she was already a little bit unstable to begin with. This would have made her a lot unstable. So why were they fighting so hard to prevent the Nashville manifesto from being released? Because now there is a direct smoking gun to Big Pharma that proves that she was specifically on these drugs. Before this, there had been no way that they could do it because they're not allowed to open medical records, because medical records are permanently locked down after the person dies. The manifesto, though, is not a medical record. And now we know why it was that the Nashville manifesto was being held back. It was being held back at the behest of Big Pharma, using a couple of parents of the victims as shields so it didn't look like it was actually Big Pharma trying to resist this. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Angel.
I was hoping I would not have to go next, because I really don't have much to drop in on this. So if he wants to go, by all means, take it. Big Pharma is not something that I'm 100% willing to go down that rabbit hole. I don't want to take 3 hours of your time. So
it's a big topic. It is absolutely a big topic. We're not gonna. I mean, we could do an entire episode on the corruption of Big Pharma. And maybe at some point we might have to.
I'll give you a brief, just real quick, because I know you don't want to be on here for too long, but real brief summation of what I believe. I think Big Pharma has been playing us all for fools for a long time. They don't cure anything. It's all about making money, being corrupt, and keeping that circle going. It's a circle jerk, and we're all the big puppets in their matrix of stupidity, blind science, and a lot of corruption. With that said, speaking of somebody who's not corrupt but is definitely highly targeted, what do you want to say?
I'm just going to also point out, when we don't want to go down this track, the stuff around the COVID vaccines. That was also.
Oh no, I mean, that's another thing I can go on 3 hours on, because that's a rabbit hole, dude. And
all right. Yeah, we don't want to go. We don't want to go. We want to specifically focus on the Nashville shooter. So V, you're up.
Yeah. I would. I've spoken about this before, as this has been a reoccurring topic. But from what I said, it could be many reasons why they held the information back, held the manifesto back. Big Pharma's one thing. Being molested by somebody in her religious church. That's what I really think it is. This might just be
It could be a combination of two. and mental instability to boot. Continue.
Mhm.
And it could be as though, like most shooters, she could have been a targeted individual. Most target individuals have their they write their own script because they're prompted. How these feds sort of groom shooters, they'll have them write their own script, and target individuals will usually pick a group that has affected them greatly in a negative way, and they will go out and unleash their rage onto that group, their misguided rage. So what I'm thinking at this point, I think this could be a facade. This could be misinformation.
That's my feeling on it, by the way, V. That's where I see this, and I think Big Pharma's making a killing off of it.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is the only thing I want to add.
Rearson.
There's nothing I can really think to go further into all of this. Well, no. As per a conversation that I had with Naroki a couple of nights ago, I mean, I would love to know what pharmaceuticals have been used for all of the mass shootings that have happened in the U.S. and Canada and anywhere else for that matter to get people to bow down and give up the right to their. Well, now it seems to be more of a privilege than it is a right to defend yourself. I mean, there was that guy that in Montreal that at École Polytechnique. You know, I would love to know, is there any association with the psychologists, psychotherapists, or whoever it was that has given the prescription for those pharmaceuticals? Is there some sort of an alumni? What possible network do they have? And I mean, is this any different than what we've seen with Kanye West's trainer?
And is it connected to NAMBLA, Steve?
Well, I mean, how far, you know, how deep does this rabbit hole go? And as I said to Naroki, there was a gentleman years ago that I was friends with, that I met him out in Lake Louise at the chateau up there. Won't say his name, but just before he unfriended me because I got right in his face for being a Trump supporter, and he did not like that. But there was one mass shooting, I can't remember what it was, or some incident with guns south of the border, and he right out of the gate, you have to support me on this one, get completely behind me or else I'm going to unfriend you. So I pushed back. I called him on it. He eventually removed me from the group because he did not like what I had to say. I think I was probably presenting some quite logical counterpoints, but that was it. It did not last very long, and I don't miss the guy. I really honestly don't. I mean, he's all for all of the socialism and capitalism, the socialism and all that other kind of shit, but the guy's got a house. So, you know, are you going to give up the house for your ideals? No? Well, then you know what? You didn't know what the fuck you were talking about. You're just like a woman. You're just like a woman. You don't know what the fuck you want. Anyway. But I did bring that up. You know, it's like, you know, can we find out what pharmaceuticals was going on? Was there any sort of, you know, I was actually, preemptively speaking, I was actually asking more in-depth critical thinking questions. And that's probably part of what pissed him off, because I came at it from a more logical viewpoint. So, where is he? I don't know. Is he still alive? I don't know. I would probably laugh at him now if I was to ever run into him again. It probably isn't going to happen, and I'll be happy with that. So that's all I have to say. And Naroki, let's wrap this up, and you get to go to bed, and we can talk tomorrow.
Unless he's fallen
All right.
asleep already.
No, I
That's-
haven't fallen asleep. No, I'm but yeah, no, I didn't want to because like 12:45 here, and it's like, yeah, we will. I will talk to Rearson tomorrow about moving Dr. Fauci to 381. Yeah, I would have liked to have done Dr. Fauci, but I mean, I was like, my energy level is really low tonight. So thank you everybody for showing up. This was a very interesting show tonight. The part about the Nashville shooter is what really intrigued me. We could at some point, and we probably will. By the way, we never did. We did the breakdown of the Matrix, but we never actually did any of the other movie breakdowns, which we're going to have to get back to. Falling Down is on that list now too. By the way, we'll have to start doing some fun stuff like that. But for tonight, we are done. Thank you all for showing up. I am, and Rusin, I will call you tomorrow when I get the chance. Yeah, but we're done tonight. I'm going to be probably in bed within about 10-15 minutes of this call ending. So with that, we are done for today. Thank